awkward banter when we started the show without anything to start the show with.
Oh, like that we're just being goofballs?
Yeah.
Like being ridiculous?
Yeah, this is called basically the Goofy Show with Jason and Kayla.
Yeah!
What's up, guys? It's Jason and Kayla.
Hello!
Nope.
No.
Anyway, sorry. I'm going to see how many times I can use that
Have you played
today.
Exploding Kittens before?
No.
Damn
I
it.
bought Exploding Kittens, the game, and I thought it was mean, so I didn't play it. It's a real thing.
True, okay, that's fair. But
that fair?
they have a card that, like, if you play a card and you don't want it, you say nope, and so that's...
Oh, that's what happens.
Y'all will understand. If you play Exploding Kittens, say Exploding Kittens.
Look at you, doing the call-outs. So what's up, guys? This is the awkward banter that happens before all of these shows.
Yeah.
Basically, we're going to be doing a Kicking It with Jason and Kayla, and we're going to do our best to answer as many questions that you guys have submitted. Kayla prints them out, brings them in here. She asks all these questions with us on social media, and then make sure that all the questions that you ask in the Profitable Salon or Facebook group get answered live while we're here. So if you're on with us live, do me a favor and just comment live. I'd love to know that you made it to this live broadcast, and then I can see the comments and we can do some good things. And as those comments come through, if you have another question that you'd like to ask, you want to ask me something random, if I don't like it, I'm going to say nope. And if I do like it, I will answer your question, but we usually answer all the questions. We're pretty good. And if we think that it might require like a longer answer, we'll either do a full webinar on it later somewhere publicly, and then also we can do like videos for our video content, which, by the way, pluggity plug. If you don't know, we have a YouTube channel. We also have a Profitable Salon or Facebook group, which is where you are probably right now if you're watching this video, because it's the only place it really goes. And then also Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We filmed a bunch of TikToks yesterday.
We did.
That was pretty legit. We had some creepy ones, some funny ones, and some silly ones.
Yeah.
So if you're down for the tick of the talk, do me a favor and say TikTok in the chat, and we'll make sure you guys get the link for our new TikTok videos. And as long as somebody besides my mom likes it, I'll think we're accomplished. Is that cool?
What about your grandma?
Yeah.
Dang it.
Grandma.
Just kidding, I didn't ask that.
No, it's okay. I do have one grandma left. It's fine. But it wasn't too awkward.
Good thing you're gifted too.
I made that. This chair is wiggly. Anyway, let's get into it. I'm sorry. We're wasting time.
Okay,
let's do it. Let's get in.
5 more of these, and I think I'll be able to answer the questions.
Okay, perfect. Kayla's in charge.
That's how much
from now on.
information you get with these Kicking It with Jason and
I like
Kayla
it.
now.
Let's do it.
I'm in the title, just in case you guys
We did put
notice.
Kayla in the title just in case you guys were confused about who she was. This is Kayla.
Yes.
Continue.
Okay. All right.
Rock and roll.
Caitlin asked this question.
Not our Caitlin, different Caitlin.
No, different Caitlin.
Just
So this
correct.
is actually a question following up the video that we posted not too long ago about doing family and friends haircuts in the salon. And this is her follow-up question.
Yeah, because we asked what's your policy on doing family and friends, because a lot of people get stuck on that one. I know the question's coming, but like a lot of people get stuck on that one. Is they're like, oh no, what's the policy? Like, should they pay? Should they not pay? What's going on? And I want to be clear. There is a difference between family, like your immediate family, and then your friends, and then etc. So I'll do my best to answer the question.
Here we go. How does the no commission for family cuts or chemicals fall in line with the IRS? Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, and that was for family or for?
No commission for family cuts or chemicals.
Yeah. So let me be clear. Friends should not get like a disc. Like, you know, if you have your friends, like if you're, how do I have to just say the whole thing, because this is kind of like the answer after the answer. So number one, to the answer that we talked about, we said that like friends should pay regular rate or they get a certain number of discounts. Like, you can decide how you want to do friends inside the salon, but that gets really sticky if you're like, get a discount from your friend, and if they're trying to get a discount from you, they're not really your friend. They're your cheap random association. Yeah, nope. There's somebody who's like trying to get something from you. Like, you know, like you should pay your friend to do the thing that they do. They can tip them even more than you would somewhere else. So that's number one on friends. But family, the way Doug does it in his salons, I don't have salons, but we do this in Doug's salon. I say we. Doug does that in his salon, and then most of our Academy members follow this exact same policy, is that you can do immediate family members like household family members. Meaning, like, if you have a spouse, you don't need to cut his hair in the bathroom at your house. Like, come to the salon and cut his hair. Like, it's all good. But what if you have, like, a sister or your mom, or, like, that's still kind of in the immediate, or your kids or whatever, that's still in the immediate. Like, you don't need to be doing color in the bathroom or the kitchen or whatever. Like, you can do it in the salon. So the typical thing is you would pay for the color that you use, you pay for the foils that you use, and basically you'd pay for the salon service side, because the salon is still getting used, you know what I mean? So the question of this question is like, well, how does that work with the IRS, Jason? Because let's say, I'm using a generic number, let's say it's a $100 service, and you're saying you gotta pay for the salon portion, which is $50, and then that other $50 is basically waived, no commission. That's what that means. It's like the commission that stylist would make for doing the hair, that commission gets waived because they're basically donating their commission to their mom for doing the haircut. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So if it's $100, there's 50-50, then the 50% of the stylist doesn't get paid anywhere. And this person is basically saying, Caitlin, right?
Yes.
Caitlin said, well, wait a second, doesn't the IRS, like, how does that work with the IRS? Well, what we're not saying is pay the salon the $50, the mom pays the daughter $50 to get her hair done, and you're not telling the IRS about the $50. We're saying that is completely getting waived. So think of it like a discount. If you were to go to the store and something was on sale for 50% off, like it cost $10, you bought it for $5, you don't pay the IRS for the $5 discount.
Right.
You only pay for what you paid for. This is the same scenario. You only pay for what you paid for, which in that case is what goes through the salon. And it's just kind of a clean way to do it. So you're not doing like mom or grandma's hair or whatever in the bathroom. Like, let's avoid that, and let's do it professionally. And then again, if you weren't on that question, go back and look in the group. But it did say like, what about staff members' hair? And we talked about after hours or non-scheduled, on days off, things like that. Your staff should look amazing. Like, make sure your staff looks good.
In fact, I'll tag the video in the comments.
Yeah, that's a good one.
This.
There's a whole thing. So we'll make sure we do that.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Caitlin, I hope that helped
Caitlin.
you. If that was helpful, Caitlin, say helpful and. You're in a mood today. I love it. Say, and finished.
And that one's
Nope.
done.
Anyway,
I want to get like
let's rock.
dollars and be like, okay. Anyway.
Questions like dollars.
This
I
one's
like it.
from Denise.
Denise.
I think her last name's Romeo. And
Romeo, I
I
like
pointed
it.
out because I think that's an awesome last name. And I kind of wish my last name was Romeo.
Yeah, I like it.
Where
Wherefore out thou, Romeo? Is that what you're gonna say? That's what I thought you were gonna say. Continue.
where thou art.
No, stop. Read the real
Okay.
question. Where
to start? I didn't spell it right.
That's okay.
Where to start if you want to turn your salon from booth rent into commission? We love
Super
this.
good. By the way, if you're a renter and you, like, we now ask the question in the group, like, if you are because we used to only let commission salons in this group, but we realize there's a lot of rental salons that are like, hey, I want to find out what it's going to take to become a commission salon. And man, I had a really, I don't know if she's going to watch this video, so I'm not going to mention names, but I had a call with a gal yesterday, and she was a rental salon, and I was like, like, there's really a lot of advantages to being commissioned, and obviously we're swayed because we have hundreds and hundreds of salons that are commissioned salons, and like, we happen to prefer that model because there's some drastic differences between rental and commission. I'm assuming that you already know the difference between rental and commission. If not, we have lots of videos on that subject, including a whole masterclass, and it's our High Performance Light program, and there's a lot of resources we have on that. But where do you start? Like, what's step one? Let me tell you what the don't do list is, because I think that's what most people like that's the question. What's the question behind the question?
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to screw up? Don't tell your team you're considering switching to commission until you have like a real plan of how to do it, so that's don't number one. And I will answer what to do. Yeah, that's the note number one. So you don't tell your staff, hey, I'm thinking about switching to commission. Okay? What I want you to do is you need to figure out, like, what is your entire game plan from start to finish on switching to commission, because what it may mean is you may lose your entire staff. Wow. And like, it's really important. Like, Mandy Pulse, who's actually one of our mentors inside our Platinum program, she's a Platinum mentor, Gold mentor, and like, she has made that switch. And we have lots of people who've made the switch, as they were like, they had some renters and some commission and some things, and like, I just have to say that, like, I've seen people make that switch very painfully from, like, 5 of our staff are renters, and we bring in a couple commission people, and then, like, slowly the commission goes away. Again, another don't is people are like, try to convert your renters into being commission. Like, are you changing from rental to commission because your staff wants it?
Oh.
Or because you want it?
That's a good distinction.
Or why? Because if your staff doesn't want it, you're probably going to turn them off. They most likely have now been booth rent. And the other thing you have to look at is, what has been the discussion and vibe about rental versus commission? Some salons have been commissioned with rental, and the goal is like, oh, I'm on commission, but now I make enough money I can move to rental. And so the idea is I graduate to becoming a renter, and you're like, I'm going to switch everybody to commission. Well, then you ungraduate them. Like, nobody wants to go back to junior high. That was awkward. Let's not do that. Like, let's not go back to junior high. So you don't want to like regress people or feel like you're taking something away. However, if you're saying, look, like, we've been a rental salon and our team is like really desperately trying to be a team, but legally they can't because they're renters, and so you can't host team meetings, you can't bring in group education, there's a lot of restrictions. And so you're like, well, hey, my team really wants to be more of a team. I think there's a way for us to put people on commission and like help us become more of a team and help you make more money than you would if you were a renter. That's a very different outcome. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you got to like play that out and say, what am I doing? How am I making that switch? So those are some do's and don'ts. But the very first do that I would do is do get some help. Like, don't do it on your own. Do get some help. Inside the academy, we have people who are like, hey, I've got a staff and I'm really ready to do this. And we have people who are specially trained on helping you convert from rental to commission. If you're like, I already have a pretty good sized salon. Like if it's like 2 of you, if you're a renter and you're like, I just want to become commission salon, that's a little bit different, a lot easier. But if you're like, I have a team of 10 that are all renting and they want to be commission, or if they don't want to be commission, I want to switch them, you need to get some help on that because it is really kind of like almost you're creating your own walkout. You have to decide what your contracts say. You need some professional help. So get some support. That would honestly be like, 1 is put your plan together, 2 is get some support, and also just look at what you've been doing, what the context is, and that'll help that out. So who was that?
Denise.
Denise.
Romeo.
Oh yeah, Denise. Romeo.
She did say that she had 7.
She had 7. So yeah. So again, do you have any? Janice, do you have any commission stylists, or is it just you? Like you're the only commission stylist, you know what I mean? And I would kind of feel out your team, like why are they rental, and what are you going to give, and what's the benefits, and then that'll kind of help you. So anyway, hope that helps.
And if you have more to your question, you can drop it in the comments.
Yeah, if you have more question, like pop it in there, and I'll get you somewhere. But it's a good question. Hopefully that was helpful.
Because we definitely
Sometimes I know
love
things.
commission.
Yeah, do it. You know what? You can throw it. It's off screen. You can't even see. I know.
Okay,
It's
hold
okay. It's all right. Do it like this way. Yeah, still didn't work. Anyway, continue.
All right.
Awkward tries here in front of you.
This is from Kat. I'll master it. Next time I'll be a pro.
Yeah.
You guys won't even know where the cards
practice
go.
all your off-camera throws. Cool.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
What is your viewpoint and advice on employing family members?
Oh. Well, you have to know I work with my sister. So, like, first of all, she's around here. She's locked in another office, like, over there right now. So I work with my sister. So clearly, I think you should never work with family members. Just kidding.
Just the good ones.
Just the good ones. Yeah, well, that's honestly a real point. My brother will never watch this video, so I can say I would never work with my brother. He and I would kill each other.
I have 5 siblings, and I would work with maybe one of them.
Yeah, so what's your policy on working with siblings? Let me tell you what I said to my sister when we hired my sister. Because we had a very different sized company when I hired my sister. And I had an assistant who was on my team, and she was not awesome. And right when I had my oldest son, is like, this is a weird story, but like, I literally looked at my son and like was so elated with like what was happening in my life. I was like, this is such an amazing moment. I'm not putting up with bullshit anymore. And I was like, my assistant's bullshit. She needs to go. Like, I know it's a weird thing to say. I looked at my son and decided to fire my assistant. But like, I was like, she was not awesome. And I was like, why do I even allow her to be in my life if she's not awesome? Because I only want, like my son, like I want awesome things in my life. And I was like, she's got to go. So I literally, the 2 days after I had my son, I fired my assistant. Anyway, that's how it works.
Wow.
And my sister was looking for work and trying to figure out what to do. And I'm like, hey, do you want to give this job a shot and see if it works for you? Because she hadn't done a job like that. And I was like, I need somebody. You need some work. Let's try it. And she's worked for me for 8.5 years now.
Dang.
So like, to give you some framework.
Sometimes it works.
Yeah, sometimes it works. It can work. So the deal is you, first of all, you got to look at the relationship. Like, again, to your point, you kind of know in your family, like who you want to work with and who you don't want to work with. Like, if my mom worked for the company, like if she can work for us one day, like there'd be goods and there'd be bads. Like I just know what's happening. And I just would say this. What I said to my sister, I'll go back to that. What I said to my sister when she started is I said, listen, there is going to be a family version of our relationship and there's going to be a work version of our relationship. And I need to be clear that in that relationship, family will always come first. Like you will always be my sister. I don't ever want the job to like make you hate me.
Yeah.
So if it makes you start hating me, which we've gotten close, she still likes me at the moment. Okay. But like we've gotten close. We're like, I'm just being really honest. Like sometimes, she's like, like the boss part or whatever. And now we have management layers in place. She doesn't work with me directly. There's a whole lot of stuff. But in the beginning, we were very close together. It was, her and I doing a lot of stuff. And so, so we had to have check-ins a lot. And I had to have conversations like, this is Jason brother, this is Jason boss. And I had to segregate those conversations and say, as your brother, here's what I want from you. As your boss, this is what's not acceptable. Dang. And so, is there a level of protection that comes with being my sister? Probably. Is there, all those other things. So, but we try to have like 2 separate relationships that we talk about. We just had a family dinner the other night where we went and hung out and we talked like, let me talk work for a second, let me talk family for a second. And it just becomes, as I see her every day, but at the same time, then it's like, well, I don't really see you as a family member every day, and that's a little different.
So you still make sure you get that time in.
Yeah. So what I would say is, if you're going to do it, put some clear boundaries in place. Like, if you don't have rules set up in your business, like, they need to be really clear that, like, they need to follow the same rules that everybody else follows, and, like, you need to be able to have those relationships. Just know it's a little bit more complicated, but at the same time, you have somebody you have a high level of trust with. Like she had access to our bank accounts and things like that. Like I wouldn't give anybody, no offense, but like I wouldn't just be like, hey Kayla, access to lots of money. Here you go. Like I trust my sister, and
Probably
I
a
know
good
she
idea.
wouldn't go anywhere because she's
Probably
my
a good
sister.
call.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean every sister's trustworthy, just my sister. But like you got to decide. Hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There was a cat. So there was a follow, somebody asked us, and then somebody also asked, like, okay, well, what if you have hired a family member and it's a very bad situation?
Yeah, well, that's why so first of all, you got to rewind back and like make clear agreements. But yeah, that's a really good question. Is like you've got to call it. We call it calling it. You got to call it and say like, hey, this has gotten sideways. We need to fix it. And just really sit down and say, how do we fix this together? And they probably know it's bad too. Just what I think most of the time happens is like people get in this confrontation is like, I have to fight, because I've heard this question in the group too, is people are like, how do you fire your sister? Or how do you fire your brother?
Yep.
And I'm like, well, now it's kind of too late. You can't really just be like, I'm going to fire you, I hate you, because then you might ruin the relationship. Like, again, it is family first. Like, I can't, if I wanted to let Caitlin go, I can't just be like, you're fired tomorrow, because then that doesn't work.
Yeah.
I have to be like, listen,
Here's
here's a problem. I think it's not working for you, it's not working for me. Like, we need to fix it. And if we can't fix it, then that probably means we need to part ways.
Yeah.
Not,
Give a
I need to
solid
fire you
effort.
because you're an idiot.
Yeah. Give
You know
a
what I mean?
solid effort into making it work.
Yeah, and even
When
more
things
than
are
probably
tough.
any other person, you need to make a solid effort
Yeah.
to make sure it works.
Yes.
So anyway, I would say start with the calling it and say, hey, this is not working the way I want it to. How do we fix it? Not, I need to fire you today.
Yeah.
Don't do that. It's not, I mean, you could kind of fire any other employee. You don't have to be related to them for life.
Yeah.
If you never see them again, oh well. Your family member, you will see them again at Thanksgiving or Christmas, hopefully.
Hopefully.
So.
And if your family member wants a job, don't jump into it. Process it. Make sure
True.
it's a good
True.
it's a good option.
All right, how are we doing on time? We got a couple
Answer
more?
questions.
Yeah, that's good. That's exactly advice from Kayla. Still, you got to get it this way. That's what I'm
Dang
saying.
it.
Right,
The paper does what it wants.
Anyway,
Okay.
continue.
I have two more chances.
Two more. We're gonna get it. And by the way, if you have questions, type them in while we're chatting. And if we don't answer them on this show live because you're typing them in, maybe after the fact, we will get to them the next time. Kayla will print them out. Woo. Oh, whoa. All right, thanks. We have
Making sure
self
you're
timers in the
paying
office, and
attention.
we had to move around.
Everybody
Anyway,
else is not moving.
it's all good. Thanks, Bob. All right,
Cabra.
continue.
Cabra. I don't honestly know how to spell your name. I'm very sorry.
It's not Cabria. Cabra.
Cabra. I think
Cabra.
it's
Let's do it.
All right. Would you recommend employee contracts that require an amount of time to work at the salon?
That's a hot topic. I've had different thoughts on this, to be really honest. I've had thoughts of like, absolutely not, and absolutely yes. So, a couple things. Technically, those are called like non-compete agreements, right? Where you would set up some level of non-compete. And I just want to say this. In a lot of states, a non-compete agreement is really hard to enforce. So like, I mean, I'll give you an example, and I'll just use you like as a social media person.
Done.
If I said, Kayla, I'm going to make you sign a non-compete that you can't go work with anybody that does social media in town within a 50-mile radius of our office. And you're like, well, wait a second, Jason. Like, if I ever leave High Performance Salon, like, I have to be able to eat and work and like do my job. And I'm like, yeah, but we've taught you too much about social media, so you can't go compete against us.
Oh, so that's for after I leave?
Yeah, it's like if you leave, you can't work within 50-mile radius of us. Now, for you, like social media is global or like at least national, so it's a little bit different. But like as a stylist, you can't be like working at our salon and then go work at the salon across the street and take all your guests with you. That's kind of the point. Or leave and go open your salon down the street. And I've seen this happen inside our academy, where like somebody works inside of a salon, and then it's like the salon's called World's Greatest Salon, and then they open up the world's greatest salon a block away.
Oh my.
And so it's like this like exact competition. So that's kind of where this question comes from, right? Is this idea of like, how do you prevent the sticky?
Yeah.
So here's a little bit more about how I would like subtly talk about this. Doug does this, and this is how he and I have discussed it and kind of currently recommend it, is that we do recommend a non-compete, even though they're not always enforceable. Mm-hmm. So you gotta just know, like, the non-compete is not to like strictly enforce it and be like, that solves all of our problems. The non-compete is so that you say, hey, look, for a period of time, within 2 years, you cannot work at a salon within this radius of our salon. And depending on how big your city is, like you might say like, hey, within 10-minute drive or a whatever, like, or within a certain mile radius. And what you want to say is within a 2-year period of working in the salon, you can't work within, 10 miles of the salon. And they're like, well, geez, like if you have that agreement in place and you bring that up during the interview and they immediately freak out on you, well, what that tells you is they were not planning to work there very long anyway.
Ooh.
Right? So it's like, if basically what you're saying is, if somebody's going to work for you and like just like do that as a stepping stone to get another job, that immediately is going to trigger for them, and they'll be like, I would never sign a non-compete. Like, that's just not okay. And you're like, well, look, the goal is we want to work together, but like, I just want to prevent you from like, you know, opening up competition directly across the street. And if that seems weird to you, like, that's probably a bad day. Like, I want to work with you indefinitely. And I don't want to, and here's the thing. You never want to prevent somebody from making a living. Right. So you're like, I can't, and that's why they're very difficult to enforce. You can't say like, I'm going to prevent you from earning income, Kayla, for 2 years because you can't work in social media anywhere in this town. Like, I can't do that to you. So, and that's why it becomes non-enforceable, is because, you know, a lawyer would argue and a judge would argue, like, I can't prevent you from making money if we decide not to work together anymore. So anyway, just know that that's kind of the gist of it. You do want to work with an attorney in your local city that makes sure that you follow all the laws, and they might say this is not really enforceable. And that's what I would just say, is like, I would just put some rules in there about the engagement. Is like, I also have seen things like people put in their employment agreement for salons, like if they provide you with a certain amount of training, like they go through an associate program and you've paid $10,000 to develop them as a person, and you've paid for that, if they leave your salon inside 6 months, they're responsible for that pay. Like they would have had to pay $10,000 to get trained, or $5,000, whatever it is. So you put that kind of stuff in employment agreements, and then it's non-compete. And same thing, we have actually a non-compete for our office that just says, like, for example, you're not allowed to take our social media intellectual property and go to our competition and like tell them how we run our social media. You're not allowed to do that. That's awkward. Like, that's awkward. Right. Yep. So anyway, but that's just cool. Like, it's a version of non-compete for everybody. Is you can't sell out secrets about the company, or take a client, like you couldn't take our client list with you and like go take our competition, all of our clients, and hand it to them and say, here's everybody's email addresses. That's terrible. That's against the law. Well, yeah, because you got to have some respect for your company. Like, I got to protect my company. But that's what a legal agreement's for, is to enforce the respect for the company. That makes sense. And it sounds like, you get what you need. There's a way to get what you need without being the bad guy and to communicate. And the fact that you're basically like a detective, because when you're having an interview and you ask them the question, they freak out. You're like, well, you're not good to work for me. Yes. That was better. That was better. Third time's a charm. She was like, what are you? All right, continue. Oh, wow, you're pretty good at that. All right, do we have time for one more? Before. Yeah, we have one more. One more. Amy. Jolene, who's, by the way, behind the scenes. Jolene's new today. Jolene is acting as... Hi. Yay! Oh, look at that. Hi, Jolene. So Jolene's behind the scenes. Yeah, Miss Jolene behind the scenes. I like that. Oh, I like that. Boom. She's keeping us on track today. Let's do it. Okay. Obviously not very good because we are all over the place. But anyway, continue. It's kind of not Jolene's fault, kind of our fault. Yeah, let's do it. It's our fault. Okay, Amy. Thank you, Amy, for your question. Thank you, Amy. How to find... Amy Chavez. Yes. Chavez. I'm so bad at reading. Okay, so how to find... I'm just bad at language. Go ahead. And employ reliable, motivated stylists, preferably with some experience. Yeah, sure. Send it to me. And a briefcase full of cash, like, for real. Like, I think... Okay, so what was it? I want to read all these dream lists. Like, you better hand it back to me so I can throw it. Yeah, I will. Okay, I'm not going to steal your throw. Thank you. But that's like saying, like, how do I get married and find a guy who's smart, handsome, makes a lot of money, perfect, loves children and pets, if you like pets, or whatever the other things. Like, do you have the answer to that? Yeah, it's really easy. Okay. No, I don't have the answer to that. No, I'm just saying it's the same. This is the same question, right? Yeah. Like, it's like, how do I find the perfect man? You're saying, how do I find the perfect stylist who not only is reliable, motivated stylist, and preferably with experience? I think that the problem you have on here, as you said, preferably with some experience. Like, okay, I'm gonna use this analogy, and we're getting weird for a second. Can we get weird? It's okay if we're weird, type weird. Kayla and I usually like to get weird. Like, if you're like, where do I find a guy who's like employed, motivated, loves kids, whatever, you're like, yeah, he's married to somebody else. Like, I don't mean like in a creepy go steal a man sort of way, but I'm just saying, like, you're not wrong. That's what I'm saying, is like, you're looking for somebody who's already like in that spot. I'm like, yeah, they're married. So you're like, where do I find a reliable, motivated stylist? Well, they work at another salon and they're very happily employed there. Like, they're already in a stylist or a salon marriage. They're already there, and they're motivated. And like, why would that motivated person? Why would that salon ever give up that motivated stylist with a book of business and all those other things, and then let you steal that business and take them over to your salon and all that other stuff? Or like, where do I find somebody that's like motivated, requires no work on my part, and they just do their thing without even asking me any questions? You're like, yeah, then they're probably a booth renter because they don't need to go work at another salon and do anything. True. So like, you're basically saying, I either want the best booth renter who doesn't need me, or I want somebody who's employed at another salon who doesn't need me. Yeah. Amy, I'm not knocking your question. I'm just saying, like, the last word on here that says preferably with some experience, that's like preferably already in a relationship, has proven themselves worthy of a 20-year marriage.
Wow.
go steal a husband. You know what I mean? Like I'm just being honest. So
Yeah.
you know, and like I heard this like, well, I don't want to go down this path too far down the dating analogy.
Not too weird.
I don't know if I could. It was a comedian. Well, now I gotta say it. But anyway, there was a comedian. And he was talking about when you. He said when men meet other wives, they're like, oh, that's a really good girl. I would love to get a wife like that one day, like something like that. I'd like to meet a really nice girl like that. Women are like, when they meet the husbands of other men, they're like, I want him. Like that's the like, I want that. Not I want one like that. I want that guy. Anyway, it's a joke. Don't send me letters. If you do, email Kayla at highperformancesalon.com. Anyway.
And I will refund all of them.
Anyway, so my point in saying that is, I think you create them, period. I think that's how this needs to go. It's not you.
It's like build a husband.
Well, but honestly, and I'll say this on both sides, right? Is that honestly, the way you get somebody who's reliable, motivated, and create some experience is you build a training program that helps them create experience. You build an associate program that helps show them how to be reliable, how to be motivated, how to grow their income, how to sell retail, and you create that. And what I would say is, and I tell this to people with relationships the exact same way, is you don't find the perfect match. You build a life together with somebody who you can make, the two of you come together and make a perfect person.
Aww.
So like when you look at that, it's like, now I was not an awesome husband before I met my wife. My wife was not an awesome wife before we met each other. We made each other more awesome by working on our relationship and becoming better people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like we became better because we created a good relationship together. We said, hey, we're both rando people that like, I think we like each other, but how do we then create a good marriage?
Yeah.
And that continues every day is we have to create a good marriage. So same thing, you want somebody who's reliable and whatever, is like, how do you become, I'm not gonna throw it, don't get all crazy. How do you build it? You know, or how do you do that in a marriage? How do you do it in a business? You build it, you don't go out there looking for somebody else's husband.
Yeah, so just find somebody you like spending time with.
Yeah, well, and so it's find somebody you think has a lot of potential. You know, go to some beauty schools and find who's there and be like, I think that's going to be an awesome person. I'm going to help create them into the stylist that I want to have, which is why we encourage people to have an amazing relationship with schools, build an incredible associate program, and you build your own husband or build your own stylist and you create an incredible team.
And that's
is that
why,
throw worthy?
Yeah. Yeah. Go.
Throw it. Not bad, not bad. All right, we're delayed. We're behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
I got another meeting to get to.
Bet you didn't know that we were going to give you relationship advice as well.
Yeah, tips on building better relationships through building a husband.
I'm going to find somebody now in the next
Is this
month.
it? Kayla also looking for husbands. So if you guys know anybody, send your referrals to.
God.
I'm just kidding. All right, guys, have a good day. I hope it was awkward and creepy in the best possible way, but still fun for you and educational. Thanks,
And
guys.
that's the way the hair.
Oh, what is it?
And that's the way the hair curls.
Curls. I was gonna say crumbles. I don't know why that was on my list.
Okay, you have a problem.
Anyway,
with
our
your hair
tagline
crumbling.
needs some work. All right, guys, have a good one. See ya.
Yes.